So a friend of mine sent me a link to a video that was making its rounds on the internet. The video was said to contain supposed proof of one of our town's local legends, the Crooked Slasher. Rolling my eyes, I clicked on the link and was greeted with a large black screen with a play button in the center. I really don't want to do this, but I clicked play anyway. The video was just some guy sitting on his couch watching TV. Nothing crazy, just like I thought. 2 minutes into the video and still nothing happened. I almost clicked off then and there, that is, until I saw a tall, dark figure stepping out of the shadows behind the man watching TV. It walked towards the man, the floorboards creaking beneath its weight. He turned around and freaked out upon seeing the figure. Interestingly enough, instead of running out of the house, the man ran upstairs. At that point, I was more confused than frightened. Why on earth would he run further into his house instead of just straight up leaving? The figure then stepped into view, turned towards the camera, and smiled creepily while holding up its two-bladed hands. The video stopped there. In the end, I decided to chalk it up as nothing more than a cheesy horror short film made by some college kids. Oddly enough, when I tried pulling it up again to have a chuckle with my friend, the video had already been deleted. Weird. Hello everybody, I'm TheRubber. Today, we bring you SCP Foundation Euclid Class Object SCP-6633. SCP-6633, also known as Man and Woman Go Out to Drive Under the Moonlight, was once classified as Keter, but persistent efforts from the Foundation saw to it being deranked to Euclid. 6633 is a hostile intrafictional entity that takes on the guise of an unknown assailant. Its appearance alters between sightings, though is more often seen as a tall humanoid in a trench coat, wide-brimmed hat, no facial features to speak of, and a large meat hook for a left hand. 6633 forms on a supernatural parasitic relationship with whatever happens to be the most current and popular urban legend in a particular region. It will then change its appearance to match the description of said urban legend. If the urban legend centers around some sort of creature or a non-humanoid entity, 6633 will instead alter the story's antagonist into an unknown killer via unknown anomalous means. After taking the form of the killer, 6633 will hunt down its victims according to the storyline detailed in the urban legend. Humans unlucky enough to be a part of the story will act in ways that are incredibly impulsive and make stupid or reckless decisions. This ultimately leads them to their deaths at the hands of 6633. Foundation researchers have determined that once the participants are chosen to play their roles in the storyline that 6633 has created, there is virtually no escape. However, not everyone involved dies. Though rare, there have been reports of survivors, albeit severely wounded. Such occurrences will in turn make the urban legend grow in prominence and propagate, allowing 6633 to manifest more frequently. To make matters worse, there is no way to track down 6633 as all attempts to trace or locate it following a narrative event have ended in failure. This has become an accepted fact by the Foundation. As lead researcher Joel once aptly stated, "How in the world do we track down something that self-inserts into humanity's imagination, then turns it into a reality?" Moreover, unlike other intrafictional entities, the source material of 6633 varies between manifestations, making permanent containment impossible. One of the most prominent attacks by 6633 was during the heydays of the clown statue urban legend. The original story involved a teenage girl who was babysitting for a couple. After she had tucked the children in for the night, she went to another room to watch television until the parents came home. While watching her show, she noticed a creepy-looking clown statue in the corner, one that she had apparently missed noticing earlier. Deeply disturbed by this, she asked the parents if she could cover the statue as it disturbed her deeply. The parents panicked and told her to run out of the house with the children because they owned no such statue. Unfortunately for the babysitter, the clown statue was actually a serial killer in disguise. The girl was murdered and the clown escaped before the police came. 6633 took hold of this story and proceeded to target a female babysitter who was looking after two young kids. Just like the urban legend, she was creeped out by a statue sitting in the hallway. The statue in question was not of a clown, but looked like an old fisherman instead. SCP field agents visited the house where the event unfolded. When asked, the parents were confused, saying that they didn't own any statue. However, phone recordings revealed that when the babysitter called the parents during the night of the incident, they told her that they did in fact own such a statue and asked her to simply cover it up. The event showcased 6633's ability to influence the decisions made by the actors in the story, inducing them to make decisions that facilitated the story's progress to resemble the urban legend used as the base. Sure enough, the babysitter was brutally murdered by 6633. The entity drained all her blood and took one of her hands for the road. The hand has yet to be located as of today. The following is a conversation between two Foundation researchers on urban legends in relation to 6633. Do you remember that one weird story about how this girl's college roommate got killed without her knowing? No? Well, the story went something like this. The girl was burning the midnight oil to study for an exam at the college library. Around 3 in the morning, she returned to her dorm room. When she entered, she greeted her roommate without turning on the lights, cause it was late and all. She didn't receive an answer from her roommate, so she just shrugged and went to bed. So, what happened? When she woke up the next morning, the words, "Aren't you glad you didn't turn on the light?" was written in blood on her wall. Her roommate was found dead with her throat slit. Freaky, right? Ugh. Has 6633 used this legend before? Nope, not yet. But hey, your daughter is in college now, right? Why the heck would you bring that up? Hey, relax. Do you really think 6633 is lurking around trolling for urban legends? That's exactly what he does, you moron! Look, keep what you just said to yourself. Do not speak of it anymore or to anyone, alright? The last thing we need is it getting traction and become popular enough for 6633 to latch on. Okay, I'm sorry. You know what? Next time we have to let Abel know there's a mission for him, you're doing it. Aw, come on, man. I said I was sorry. In order to combat against the increasing number of attacks by 6633 and diminish its influence, the Foundation went on a campaign to undermine the popularity of common urban legends. To achieve this, numerous fact-checking websites were set up to debunk these legends and myths. Agents were also tasked with going online and masquerade as keyboard warriors to mock and paint urban legends as unrealistic and shallow stories created by amateur fiction writers. These efforts proved effective, as the number of 6633 attacks dropped by nearly a third. Furthermore, the Foundation also enacted Procedure Archetype. The plan pushed for writing tropes using urban legends as plot lines to be less desirable by those in the entertainment industry. This would in turn make classic killer-slasher urban legends dumb and played out. Results showed 6633 attacks dropping dramatically to the point of making them nearly non-existent. The only attacks reported were that of local urban legends focusing on mundane events. These attacks almost never led to deaths, merely minor injuries. While casualties do occur, they are extremely few and far between. The Foundation's efforts proved successful, and all was well. After a few years, there was a sudden spike of 6633 attacks in a single night. An estimated 120 attacks and nearly 250 casualties were reported over the course of that one night. Foundation staff were understandably confused and wondered if 6633 was now able to simultaneously manifest in multiple locations. To add to the confusion, those who went missing before and after the attacks showed no signs of fear at all when things unfolded. For instance, an attack was recorded by CCTV and recovered by the Foundation. It was unsettling to say the least. The video showed a man and woman in a car parked at the side of a road. They did nothing for several minutes, expressions completely blank. Then they pressed their lips together, but wasn't actually kissing. The man suddenly floated out of the car and vanished into the ground. 6633 promptly appeared into view and levitate to the seat next to the woman while scratching up the vehicle with its hooked hand. The woman then began screaming in horror and flailed around. Before she vanished, her face showed no fear. Foundation researchers later learned that simultaneous attacks occurred that same night. They found a post online that detailed all the attacks, albeit in a jumbled-up manner. Researchers hypothesized that 6633 itself used numerous online urban legends and pieced them together to create new plot lines for it to manifest in reality. As for the missing persons, it is believed that they were already dead and was used as puppets in the recreation of 6633's attacks. Despite the initial alarm raised by these attacks, the Foundation expressed little worry following a report from the Department of Anomalous Film and Media. They predicted that the popularity of writing urban legends will wane significantly in the coming years, exemplified by its current downtrend. This has caused 6633 to have even less material to work with. Hence, SCP-6633 will keep its status of Euclid. The Foundation believes that 6633 was merely in its death throes, trying desperately to sustain itself using any and all media it can get its hands on. In general, the Foundation is pleased to have effectively brought down the once Keter-class entity, so much so that 052 wrote a short memo about it. It's about time you managed to accomplish something worthwhile. I'd normally ignore most of the reports sent to me as they detail nothing but failures. And as someone who has been a part of this organization for a long time, it certainly grows tiresome. So imagine my surprise when I learned that SCP-6633 has had its proverbial wings clipped. You have my thanks. Needless to say, those who received this memo were quite surprised by the genuine thanks expressed by the usually gruff 052. Some time ago, Dr. Uriel put forth a hypothesis concerning 6633. She stated that should SCP-6633 learn of the SCP Foundation through urban legends from its own members or the public at large, it could end up copying and wielding the abilities of a myriad of powerful entities, laying waste to the Foundation, killing all of its staff and even the O5 Council, and God forbid, the Administrator. Therefore, it is imperative that those within the Foundation do not write down or speak of anything related to the Foundation. All civilians are to be amnesticed or terminated should they become aware of the Foundation's existence. Furthermore, Dr. Uriel suggested the creation of a fake Foundation archive and calling it the PCS Foundation. This fake database will see to it that all stories archived have happy endings in order to cover up the cruel reality with which the real SCP Foundation wrestles daily. So when someone attempts to spread word about something related to the SCP Foundation, they will be called out for just taking stories from the PCS Foundation and rewriting it for themselves. The motion was approved and has been enacted ever since. It has proven to be successful thus far. He wakes up panting, trying to find his breath. The memories of that unfortunate day flood into his room. His half-naked, beaten and bruised body picked and disposed of like a starving street urchin. His back marked by an eerie, clown-like smiley, and the tortures brought on him by the child breakers, who are without mercy. They pick the most unfortunate ones from the streets, those with no background, no guardians. Then they go down to the smallest inches of their bones and beat it until each bone is crooked and funny enough to make the clowns of the circus. The ultimate gags and cheer for the society, but never to be loved or accepted by them as human, and to be fed on some weird circus beans and purple liquid for a lifetime. That's how they breed an ultimate freak. Ever since his escape from Camperchicos, Josh could never sleep peacefully. The traumas of the past haunted him even though it was decades ago, and he was an adult now. But all these freaks brought together to put on a show of their miseries had a price to be paid by the town. 20 years later, it was all starting again. Hello everybody, I'm TheRubber. Today, we bring you a SCP Foundation neutralized object, SCP-2912. SCP-2912 designates 3 roughly humanoid organisms resembling typical circus clowns. All of them had undergone severe and varied corporeal and psychological augmentation. With black and white skin forming horizontal stripes around its body, SCP-2912-1 resembles an air-filled balloon, able to transport itself through the air, with its only vocalization being the sound of party horns. SCP-2912-2 had yellow skin covered in red polka dots, standing at 2.56 meters tall with no eyes and a bulbous red nose. It could produce music from its asymmetrical and disjointed body. Lastly, the SCP-2912-3 is similar to the other two, with its face paint being its natural appearance. However, it can produce cream pies seemingly out of thin air. Not just that, but he vocalizes only with shriek laughter and can trigger uncontrollable laughter among the listeners that can last from 6 to 32 hours. Along with the clowns, a person of interest who calls himself Dick C. Normus, designated as POI 4569, was also found during the Foundation's raid on a fairground that had hosted Herman Fuller's Circus of the Disquieting. It was the 10th of May, 1998. The town was finally witnessing cheerful moments of relief. The carnival was all cheery, except for the abominations of Herman Fuller's Circus of the Disquieting. To Josh, it was discomforting that it was just hopeless clowns performing for the sake of money. It was not long that Josh noticed the Foundation investigators arriving at the carnival. He reached out to them and was informed about the hunt for clown breeders. Upon hearing the name, Josh turned pale. Before he could manage to collect his thoughts, one of the personnel shouted, "There! That tent!" They started running towards the tent. But what happened next made him doubt reality. The tents they were approaching started disappearing one after another, until one last tent was remaining, in which the clowns and Dick C. Normus were found. Since then, Josh has escaped from the circus and eventually joined the Foundation as a transferred child abduction expert 20 years later. He has been sent specifically to assist in the wake of recent disappearances of children. The disappearances started exactly 6 weeks ago, with the first child getting abducted being a 9-year-old from the Candy Carnival in West Wonderville. What started as a usual case of abduction soon spiraled into something way more sinister as it started multiplying. More and more children started disappearing from different carnivals throughout the town, with the most alarming thing being no follow-up calls to ask for any kind of ransom. The investigation was conducted by Josh. Upon questioning 4569 about his role, he revealed that he worked as what was called the clown breeder for Herman Fuller, the boss of the Circus of the Disquieting. Further investigating, Josh asked, "What is this profession about?" To which 4569 described, "Well, in the real old days, you didn't have no breeders. Back then, the best we had was child breakers." Josh shuddered at the words child breakers. 4569 seemed to notice. He grinned and continued speaking. "The good old days when people used to laugh and get entertained by the Laughing Man, Turtle Boy. Hell, the Inside Out Girl are all gone now. They need designer clowns now, and I give Mr. Fuller the world-class clowns. Would you see these not-so-funny freaks? They are not even good business, let alone lucrative. These numbskulls can't even pull off a good show. But Mr. Fuller and I have decided something big for the next carnival. More young clowns fashioned our way. You will see very identical faces, sir, mostly from your own town. This carnival will be something that will..." Suddenly, a loud thud and bang were heard across the room. Josh immediately got onto his phone and connected to the personnel in charge. "Sir, the clowns have exploded on their own, and there's blood and confetti and some kind of black liquid all over their rooms." Upon hearing those words, Josh turned pale. 4569 cocked his head to one side and let out a chuckle. "Oh, look at that. What's wrong, Josh? Something's wrong? Did the clowns explode or something? What did you do to them?" By then, 4569 had turned angry and said, "You fellas forgot to milk the clowns, didn't you? Way to ruin a decade of work, you idiots." As Josh turned to leave, 4569 said to him, "Hope life outside the circus is treating you well, Josh." That last remark sent chills down Josh's bones. It seemed that his past would catch up to him wherever he goes and haunt him forever. The matter was yet to be understood, and the subject was interviewed but failed to deliver the required information. 7 months later, on the 25th of December, the surveillance camera inside POI 4569's room recorded an unidentified individual entering the cell. It appears muscular, but further details are obscured by a cloud of smoke, which permeated the cell via the anomalous doorway. "About time you got here. Is that a smile or a frown? I can never tell with you. A liability? Come on, I'm the best clown breeder you got, and Mr. Fuller knows it." And then POI 4569 was heard crying for help, but security personnel were unable to reach him in time. Soon enough, all that had become a long-forgotten memory as the cases died down once again. The crowd cheered as the mayor of Wonderville took the stage. He waited for the applause to settle down before he welcomed the people to the grand opening of a brand new chain of carnivals. In the distance appears tents of the circus with hideous clown-like figures seen laughing manically, sharpening their axes. The words are heard. "The show must not stop. The clowning must go on. We will come to get you too." Remember to check out my new animation channel, TheRubber Talks, where I share my life story, thoughts, and opinions. Just click on the link in the description to enter the Rubber's world. Before we end this video, we are proud to present these incredibly sweet pieces of fan art. A big thank you to all of you. You can now send us your fan art, and we will be more than happy to show off your best art piece in our next video. Check out our description below on how to submit. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Which SCP do you want to see in the next video and why it is interesting? Let us know in the comment below. We will draw your story and share it with the world. Don't forget to click like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell. Please share it to your friends if you like this video. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.